The effect of peer pairing in an independent study setting. Ursula R. Flinspaugh, Hannibal LaGrange University, Hannibal, Missouri. This study was conducted in an effort to determine the effects and outcomes of pairing students during classroom activities. Open Learning Center and independent learners usually enter the computer lab, log on to the math software, and work problems for 90 to 180 minutes. There is no conversation and little interaction between the students. Instead of this solitary study method, I paired volunteers in hopes that some of the benefits of peer pairing might be realized, such as prevention of dropped courses, improved study skills, improved attitude toward school, development of life skills, collaboration with others, and tolerance of others and their opinions. In the current independent learning situation, many independent learners appear to lack motivation during the 16-week semester. Open Learning Center students become disinterested in the math course in which they are enrolled. Course grades suffer from the lack of interest and lack of perseverance. If the results of my small sample of students corroborates some of the benefits of peer pairing, then it may be cause to reevaluate how the Open Learning Center and independent study programs are currently conducted. The results may indicate the need for a change in procedure to be considered, designed, and implemented. The two questions of my action research study are: 1. Will peer pairing in an independent study or Open Learning Center setting affect the level of mastery or number of topics learned? 2. Will peer pairing result in a higher degree of understanding of math concepts, higher weekly performance, and ultimately higher final course grades? Today's math teachers may not publicly admit that students ask their peers for assistance with assignments, but they know it happens in the hallways, cafeterias, and on school buses. Why then will teachers not consider using peer learning strategies when math assignments are given? Benefits of peer tutoring include higher academic achievement, improved relationships with peers, improved personal and social development, as well as increased motivation. There are a variety of peer strategies available, and the idea of gaining assistance from peers goes by many names. There are many ways to do peer learning, which prohibits identifying a standard set of guidelines on exactly how to do this kind of work. The fact that this strategy goes by many names may be one reason why math instructors fail to implement any learning strategy at all. Implementation requires training, research, practice, and cooperation from colleagues and administrators. It is obvious that simply placing students in groups and telling them to work together is not going to automatically yield results. Lev Vygotsky believed that knowledge occurs within a social context that involves student-to-student and expert-to-student collaboration on real-world problems or tasks that build on each person's language, skills, and experiences by each individual's culture. And Gregory and Chapman observed that students learn social skills as well as cognitive skills and most often use higher levels of thinking as they discuss and clarify information. To the specifics of my study. My students range in age from 18 to 60 years. Some are high school graduates, but just as many are first-year college enrollees, much older with family and employment responsibilities. All are residents of rural communities. The mathematics courses are computer-generated with the use of ALEX Corporation software. The first day of class, students are required to complete an initial assessment. ALEX uses the results of these initial assessments to design a student-specific math course for students enrolled in intermediate algebra, statistics, college algebra, or trigonometry. During each scheduled class period, students are required to be actively engaged and progressing toward weekly goals of number of topics mastered, number of hours time on task, attendance, and completion of weekly knowledge checks or formative assessments. For each student, all such progress data is recorded. I may present mini lessons to students of a specific course when it is apparent that the software lesson needs more detail. While students are engaged with computer software, I conduct individual student conferences regarding progress, assessment results, and explanations to correct misunderstandings or mistakes. My small sample consisted of 10 students, 9 who volunteered to participate, resulting in 3 study groups. Each group consisted of 3 students, a pair of collaborating students, and an independent learner working alone. All students received identical instruction, individual conferences, and had access to me during scheduled class time. The main campus offers free tutoring for all students as well, and I am open to students attending class twice a week if they choose to do so. At the end of the course, students must complete a proctored final summative assessment. They are given 2 hours in which to do so. Their final grade is calculated using 25% of their total end-of-term progress percentage plus 75% of their final summative assessment score. Now, to the data and results of this action research study. In an effort to establish a baseline for comparison, I randomly selected a student from each of the previous 10 terms, collected relevant data, and calculated the following averages. Average time on task, 30.1 hours. Final exam grade, 76.75%, a letter grade C. Final course grade, 78.5%, letter grade C. And the average number of topics mastered, 74.44. Recall that the baseline average time on task was 30.1 hours. Notice that much more time was invested with groups 1 and 2, while their counterparts were not as involved in the course. With respect to final exams and course grade, you see that Group 1 earned A's on both exam and course grade compared to their independent learner who earned a C on final exam and course grade. Group 2, both students earned B's on final exams and course grade, while their independent learner dropped the course. And in Group C, both of the pair earned B's for the exam and course grade, whereas their counterpart earned letter grade of D for both final exam and course grade. Recall that baseline average in both were 76 and 78% respectively, a letter grade of C. Now, a quick comparison of peer, pair, and independent learner shows the intensity of the pair compared with the individual student. The paired students, A and B, on a daily basis outdid their independent learner student, C, between January 15th and May 5th overwhelmingly. Notice the daily number of minutes of the pair in contrast to the independent learner of the group. The pair regularly logged over 150 minutes to the extreme of over 400 minutes per day, while the independent learner rarely managed over 150 minutes and only once logged in more than 250 minutes per day. Similar results occurred in groups 2 and 3. As you can see, the collected data indicates that peer pairs outperformed their independent learner counterparts. The results of this project answered both questions in the affirmative. Peer pairs outperformed their independent learner counterparts with respect to time on task, number of topics mastered, final exam grades, and course grade earned. These conclusions are in line with those of many studies. Paired students gained math skills as well as social skills. Some were first-generation college enrollees. The only support they had was a student peer. Many of the pairs exchanged phone numbers and email addresses. They really did learn to rely on each other. The results showed that they were motivated by each other as well. To implement a peer-pair learning strategy requires a flexible classroom or lab. Some teachers will need encouragement to make changes from the standard policy of working alone to pairs working with each other. It is apparent that some form of peer collaboration is an effective teaching tool. My concern is the many high schools and universities relying on offering more and more online courses. How will these institutions of learning address the lack of interpersonal communications and collaboration? I fear the expansion of online and independent studies will lead to deterioration of social skills. Thank you.